What's up, guys? It's your old pal Corey here, coming at you with another video. This one is going to show you guys my settings on Sony Vegas Pro 14. These settings are my settings, the settings that I use to render in 4K. Now, you might be thinking, you know, you're rendering these videos are GTA, they don't need to be 4K 60 frames per second. And you know, a lot of you guys watch your videos on your phone, a lot of you guys watch videos on 1080p monitors at 60 frames per second. Now, myself, I have a 4K monitor. I play GTA5 in 4K 60 FPS, so why not render it in the best quality that I can? So I want it to be in the best quality. That way, if you guys have a smart TV or an Xbox and a 4K television, you can watch my videos on your 4K TV and it'd be ultra clear, ultra smooth at 60 frames per second and in the best quality that I can bring you until I learn maybe some better settings. So anyways, right now I'm going to walk you through, if you didn't know, 2018 Sony Vegas Pro 14, the settings on how to turn on CUDA rendering, aka rendering with your graphics card, whether you have an AMD card or a GTX NVIDIA card. I will walk you through all the settings that I use to make my videos as clear as possible and as close to raw footage as I can possibly get. Now, before you know, a lot of testing and a lot of seeing what I can improve and different settings that I use to come up with these settings to get to this final destination. Now, this might not even be the final destination. I might you know, change my bitrate, I might change different things to make the videos look the best they can. I know YouTube suppresses things, but I want my videos coming out of a render from Sony Vegas Pro to look as close to raw video as they possibly can. So with that being said, there is a hidden menu inside of Sony Vegas Pro 14. So you can go up to options, you can go to preferences, and you'll notice you got editing, display, CD settings, sync, external control and automation, general, video, preview device, audio device, MIDI, VTS effects. So you go to video, you got GPU acceleration of video processing. So you want to make sure that's checked. Mine is a 1080 Ti, so just make sure you have that checked. But also, once you do that, you come down and hit apply. I already have all those settings set up, so I don't need to hit apply. But anyways, you go back up to options here, and instead of just left clicking on preferences, you hit shift preferences. That's gonna bring up a hidden menu called internal right here, the very top right. You click internal, you go down here, you type in GPU. Now it will bring up a menu that says allow GPU rendering. The value before you change it will say false. So all you gotta do is click in here and delete false, type in all capitals true to activate GPU rendering. So then you would come down after you do that, hit apply. It might tell you need to reset Sony Vegas before you continue. So then after all that's done, you can come up to your settings up here above the video, and then these are all my settings that I use for preview and presets. So of course I'm rendering in 4K, so width and height is 3840 by 2160 at 59.940, aka 60 frames per second. Pixel format is going to be 8-bit, full resolution rendering is going to be best. Motion blur type is Gaussian. And then you always want to make sure that you have resample mode, disable resample. So audio, of course, it's going to be stereo at 48,000. Resample and stretch quality, best. So that's all you need to do up there. So anyways, like I said, 8-bit at full resolution rendering quality, best. Motion blur type, Gaussian. And then resample mode, disable resample. So you can type in your custom settings here as far as, you know, if you're running 1080 or 4K or whatever it may be, and then notice that the project, you will see that in a second. So once you're done with that, before you even get into the rendering process, you right click on your video itself. So you right click the video, you go to properties, and then make sure that you always click disable resample. Now I've tested this a lot. I've tested different settings: force resample, disable resample. I've tested them. Make sure that you disable resample within the timeline on all the videos, whether there's cuts in the video or not. Make sure that every part of the video within your timeline is indeed set to disable resample. Okay, so anyways, before you start your render, make sure you have, of course, your line up here that goes all the way to the end for your rendering process. And then go to File, and then Render As. Alright guys, so make sure that you have this line all the way drawn out, because this is going to render everything in your timeline that you want it to render. You want to make sure this line is covering everything. If you render with Sony Vegas, you probably already know that. So anyways, the settings that I use, now you might be thinking, like I said, 4K is too much, you don't need to run 4K 60, but since I played GTA5 aka 5M in ultra settings in 4K at 60 FPS, and I'm capturing 60 FPS, why not do the best that I can do? Why not give you guys almost, you know, raw footage quality? Why shouldn't I bring that to you guys? That way you can watch it on your TV, your phone, a 4K device, whatever it may be. If you have a phone that has a 4K display, you got a 4K video that you can then watch through YouTube. So anyways, when you go to your Render As settings, after you have your timeline and everything set up, this is, I'm gonna change the name of this, but anyways, this is my template. YouTube Final 4K Lawn Mowing Gone Wrong. That was a video I put out, and I'm gonna change the name of that so that is my custom template that I go to every time. But just to show you guys the settings, go to Customize Template, and then of course my width is going to be 3840 by 2160 because it's 4K. Profile is going to be set to high. Frame rate is going to be set to 60 frames per second. Field order, none. Progressive scan. Pixel aspect ratio is 1.00000. Number of frames 2. Constant bit rate BPS 768,000. Variable bit rate is checked, and then 2pass is unchecked. Now let me tell you why I don't use 2pass. I have done 5 or 6 videos with and without 2pass. With 2pass enabled, and also render using CUDA if available on, I have noticed while using 2pass that I get pixelation in my videos. So I don't use 2pass, plus 2pass makes your rendering time go up, So why use it if it isn't helping at all? If you're using your CPU only, 2-pass may help, but using CUDA if available, and or OpenCL if you're using an AMD card and Sony Vegas 14 Pro recognizes it, then it's not really going to speed up the video much as far as your rendering time, but it will make the video itself clearer. So anyways, you might be thinking, wow Corey, your maximum BPS is 135 million. Your average BPS is at 50 million. Number of slices is 4, and once you've gone up to your options and properties and changed over and hit shift and right click preferences and go into internal, go to those settings that I showed you previously, you will now be able to render using your GPU, whichever one you may have, AMD or NVIDIA. Now, like I said, it's not going to make a difference much, maybe 10 seconds or so on how fast it renders, but it does make a difference on the clarity of the video. So when I'm done with these settings right here, maximum BPS 135 million, average BPS at 50 million, number of slices 4, encode mode, rendering using CUDA if available. CUDA is if you have a NVIDIA card or a NVIDIA style card, whether it's EVGA or whatsoever. And then you go into audio after you go through all those settings, and then sample rate is of course going to be 48,000, and then my bit rate for my audio is 320,000. That gives you a better sound after the rendering process. System, you can check your GPU. CUDA is available. It's in an MP4 file format. The reason that is because I'm using main concept ABC/AAC. So you can see what's inside the format: audio 320 kbps at 48,000 Hz, 16-bit stereo, AAC video 60 frames per second at 4K progressive. So anyways, we go to the project. Video rendering quality is set to best, and then that's all you have to do. So now, with your maximum BPS and your average BPS being higher, it is going to make a larger video when you're done. So instead of it being 4 gigabytes when you're done, it's going to be 16 to 24 to 30 depending on how long your video is. Also, I'm rendering in 4K, so if I was rendering in 1080 it might be a little bit different, but since I am rendering in 4K, it's going to be a little bit higher. So anyways guys, hopefully you enjoyed this, and also it helps you guys if you are using Sony Vegas 14 Pro and don't want to spend that extra $300 to get Sony Vegas Pro 15, because I know Sony Vegas Pro 15 utilizes the GPU a lot better than Sony Vegas Pro 14. But anyways, that's my settings. That is what I use to render all my GTA ARP 5M videos. That is the settings I use, and when I look at the videos when I'm done, they are as close to raw as possible. So with that being said, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Like I said, hopefully it helped you out. If you got any questions, feel free to ask me in the comment section and I will help you out. But that is the settings that I use, and that's also why my videos are so clear. Now you might be thinking, well, I don't want to use all of my space, my hard drive space, you know, and I have 8 terabytes and then 2 500 gig SSDs, but remember, you can always delete that file and then re-download it from YouTube later if you want. Now you won't have the original footage, but if you have external hard drives, or you have a 10 gigabyte external setup, which that's what I want to be using soon with, 46 terabytes. This is the best settings I have found so far to being as close to RAW as possible. So I use Final Cut Pro when I'm using my DSLR, and ProRes, those files are huge compared to Sony Vegas files. Where a 1080p 60 FPS video on Final Cut Pro ProRes will be 90 gigabytes. It's still relatively low. It's really low, and the reason that Final Cut and ProRes and a lot of people use Final Cut is because the videos look amazing. So anyways, I want you guys to see the settings that I use, so that if you want to use these settings, I found these settings to be the best that I have came across so far. And like I said, the reason I don't use 2Pass is because I've noticed with 2Pass on, it for some reason, not only does it make the video rendering process longer, but I get more pixelation with 2Pass. And why use it if it gives you pixelation in your video, and also it makes the rendering process longer? So anyways guys, hopefully you enjoyed this video. Give it a big thumbs up. If you have any questions, put it in the comments section. If you have not subscribed, hit that subscribe button and turn on that notification bell. I am going to be trying to bring you guys ARP GTA5 roleplay videos every single day. So lock in, get them seatbelts on, because we're going on a ride and we're going to have some fun doing it. So anyways, like I said guys, hopefully you enjoyed this, and it helps if you use Sony Vegas Pro 14 and you couldn't figure out why you have a really good GPU but you couldn't render using your GPU. It's because of that hidden menu. Anyways, hopefully this helped you guys out. If you have any questions, like I said, put it in the comments section. Hopefully you guys are all having an amazing, beautiful day, living your lives to the fullest, doing you, being who you are 100%. And don't forget to keep it real, speak that trust, and peace in the world. Alright guys, hopefully you enjoyed it, hopefully it helped you out, and I'll catch you on the next one.